Welcome back. It's been a little hiatus. I've been very busy the last couple weeks. Traveling a little bit. Just doing stuff. I've really wanted to get more videos out these last couple weeks, but I just haven't got a chance to. We put out a lot really quick, and I'm really proud of that. And I hope to get more out more frequently now. But sometimes you get busy, and that's just how it goes. But yeah, we're back with another video today, and as you can see, I have a new background here. We kind of rearranged our house a little bit, and I have another sitting area with a nice TV over there now. It's like a second living space. Yeah, you can see the nice exposed beam walls back here. Like I told you before, I live in a log cabin, a very old log cabin, and we've had a lot of work done to it, and we really enjoy living here. But yeah, we got the exposed log beams back here, and yeah, it's just a nice feature of the house. And I don't know if I'll start having most of my videos here. It's a comfy space to relax, and I feel like it's got a decent background, so maybe we'll start having more videos here. But anyway, what is the topic we're going to discuss today? I'm really glad to get this video out because this is a topic I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and it's a very good one. I think this is going to be a topic that a lot of you are going to enjoy, and it's going to leave us thinking how we can be better in this area. So, what is the topic? It is how can we raise our kids? How can we be better parents? How can we be better caretakers? You know, children are such a blessing. I have two daughters, and they are just the love of my lives. I love them so much, and I try to make their world such a loving and nurturing place because I want them to have a life where they know I'm there for them. And I feel like that's what all parents want. But are some parents bad at it? Yeah. Am I bad at it sometimes? Yeah. But I really have tried to create a space for my kids where they know that I care. And that is something that I think is so important. And I'm so inspired by other parents too, is we're just trying to create a space for our kids where they know they can come to us. And for my older daughter, I'm kind of like her I don't know what you call it. I'm her safe person. Like she feels so nurtured around me and so safe. It makes me feel good when she tells me, you're the best dad in the world. Do I believe it? No. Because I have the hard time believing I'm the best at anything. And, all parents make mistakes. But, when you have your kid telling you that they really love you, I think that goes a long way. And you may be thinking in your space too is, man, these kids are just the best thing that's ever happened to me. And that's how I feel about my kids. I love them so much, as most parents do. I hope you love your kids a lot. And I say that because I have met parents who don't love their kids, if you can believe it. I was in a veterans group one time with mostly older men, probably 50s or 60s. It was kind of like a talk group. You kind of talk, and we were talking, and one of the guys mentioned that he didn't like his kids, and just like brought that up as something that he thought I would be somebody who might agree with that, and I don't agree with that. We're giving these kids, and sure they might make mistakes, but we should still love them. Um, you know, you only get two parents in your life. I mean, you can have step parents or adopted parents, obviously, but most people only get two parents in their life. So we need to be their support. We need to be there for them. I can imagine not loving my kids. It's just they're such beautiful human beings, and sure they're gonna make mistakes. I mean, my daughter, she's always just doing things that sometimes get under my skin, and that's what kids do. They don't obey all the time, and that's okay. I think that's something as parents we need to realize, is our kids aren't going to be perfect. Um, they're young, they're dealing with new things. They don't know how to process everything. Their minds aren't fully developed. They can't process everything that they're going through. So yeah, that results in temper tantrums, defiance sometimes, and that's okay. Can it be frustrating for the parents sometimes? Yes. When your kid's throwing a tantrum, it can be hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But we need to find ways where we are supporting our kids in those moments because they need a safe person. They need their parents to be there for them. This is all just kind of off the wire, but this is just thoughts I've had running through my head that I think some parents share with me. Is that yeah, we have rough times as parents, and it's parenting's not always a breeze, and not knowing what to do in the moment. We don't always know what to do in the moment, but I feel like if you're parenting, one of the ways you can be a better parent is by seeking advice from more seasoned parents. I know I've only been a parent for what'll be 4 months, 4 years next month. Um, and it's been a great 4 years, obviously. My kid, my older kid, she is just so great. But she has temper tantrums. She defies me sometimes. Bedtime routine is always a fun time, and I'm sure if you're a parent of young kids, you can agree. Bedtime does not always go over so smooth. She's in a stage now where she kind of tells me I don't want to go to bed, and that there's nothing you can tell her different. You just have to kind of be there with her. Try to love her through it because um, kids defy you. They're not doing this to hurt you. They're just kids, and it's okay. I don't raise teens. I couldn't tell you what a teen's like, but teens defy their parents too, and we shouldn't hate them for it. We need to love our kids. That's ultimately what God gave us kids for, so we could love them the same way He loves us. I think of different stories biblically, and God is always loving His creation. He's being true to the people who love Him, and our kids don't always love us, and some believers don't always love God. They get mad at Him, but we have to stay true to our kids, just like we stay true to God, and that's so important. In a more extreme sense, we know the story of the prodigal son. We've talked about that on here before. You know, loving our kids, welcoming them back. If you're a parent of older kids, if they're out there doing whatever in the world and making bad decisions, we need to love them when they come back, and we need to always be there for them when they're doing that stuff. Because we're not just gonna write our kids off. It's just not the right thing to do. And our kids, we're their biggest supporters, or we should be. And God loves us unconditionally. We should love our kids unconditionally. They're little humans. If your parents to young kids, they're little humans who are just exploring the world. They're learning new things every day, just like we are. But they're learning new things on a bigger level because they don't even know how to do the simple stuff sometimes. But we need to be there to teach them and love them through it. And that's a challenge I have for you is find new ways to love your kids. How can we show them that we're supporting them throughout their day? My daughter, like I said, she defies me sometimes, much like your kids probably do. And she's not doing that to hurt me. She's just doing that because she's a kid. And yeah, it can get under my skin sometimes. I could be like, why are you doing this? But at the end of the day, she's my daughter, and I know that she just needs help getting through whatever she's going through. Our kids are such blessings. God gives us our kids, and our kids make us better people, or at least they should. There's some. I'm not gonna lie, my kids, they're not bad kids, and I haven't really had a hard time parenting on like an extreme level. I know there's some parents who go through a lot harder stuff. I could obviously we have stuff like childhood cancer, diseases, stuff like that. It's very hard, and I don't know what it's like to go through that. But there's also the parents who are going through behavioral issues on a bigger level, and my kids really haven't had behavioral issues on a big level. But, some parents are going through that, and if you're in that situation, I sympathize with you. And I'm just gonna tell you, they're still your kids. Um, they're they're still your kids all the way through it. And so it can be hard, but we should not take our anger out on our kids. A lot of people they get angry, they um, I don't know what they do. They yell, they create a unloving environment basically for their kids. And we don't want to do that. Sometimes we raise our voice and sometimes we get frustrated, but we need to let our kids know we love them. Tonight, my daughter was defying me while I'm trying to put her to bed. She's just won't go to sleep. She's just telling me I'm not going to listen to you, just all the fun stuff. And I just sat down with her and I said, Sadie, I love you, but you got to listen. You know, there's going to be consequences if you don't listen, obviously. If you don't punish your kids, they're never going to know that there's consequences for their actions. But I just told her, if you don't do this, we might not have this. You might not have this in your room tonight, like a toy or something. I might take that out of the room tonight. I never punish my kids physically. I just don't find that to be helpful. Um, and maybe you do, but on here we don't. That's not us. And I don't punish my kids physically. I don't see a benefit to it. I feel it promotes a hostile environment, and I'm just not going to do that. And I said that a long time ago before I even had kids. I'm not going to physically punish my kids. Not going to do it, and not going to promote it. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But just trying to create this nurturing environment. For a long time back in the day, it was just we had very strict rules for our kids, and we had harsh punishments for our kids. And I don't feel like that was the right thing in our history. You know, there's one show I really like to watch. As a kid, I loved it. I still love it. Little House on the Prairie, and maybe you love it too. And I still love it today. I still watch it sometimes. But in the show, they spank their kids a lot. And you kind of see like you're gonna get a whipping for this or that. And nowadays it just makes me uncomfortable. It's like this is supposed to be a loving environment, like a loving show, but we're spanking our kids all the time. And that was obviously the way that they did things back then. But I don't know. It just it just doesn't make it as great of a show anymore for me. I still love watching it, but that part always makes me uncomfortable. But moving on from that, let's just talk about what can we do for our kids? How can we support them? Because we love our kids. We love our kids so much. And people say I'm not my kid's friend. I'm their dad. But I feel like I am their friend. Because at the end of the day, if they don't have any friends, I'm always going to be their friend. I want them to know they can talk to me about anything when they get older. I want them to know I'll always be in their corner because I'm always am going to be in their corner. Um, kids, they struggle. Just like adults do, they struggle. They struggle with different things sometimes. They struggle with similar things sometimes. But no matter how they struggle, we need to be there for them. I've seen many people just on the internet and stuff, and even some people in real life. Like their kid comes out to them that they're gay, and they're like, "Oh, so I don't associate with my kid anymore." I always found that to be so unproductive. Um, One, it's okay. It's okay if your kid's gay. But second of all, why would you throw your kid away for that? And even if you did see it as wrong, why would you not just love your kid in that moment? And if you're coming from a Christian standpoint and you see being gay as a sin, it's not right to not love your kid and to push them out of your life. Um, it's just not good. But I think it's also important to note that on here if my kid's gay, I'm gonna love them and I'm gonna support them. If my kid married somebody of the same gender, I would be at their wedding supporting them because I find that beautiful. But yeah, it's just one example of people pushing their kids away, and it's like we don't have to do that. We can love our kids, and our kids, they love us so much. Sometimes they tell us, they get mad at us, and yeah, that's normal. And if your kid hasn't done that to you yet, it's probably coming. Your kid's gonna tell you that they don't like you, but it's usually just a retaliation thing. They don't mean it, and it's okay. You'll get over it. You'll get through it, and your kid loves you. And if you're a parent of little kids and you are trying to create a nurturing environment, you're probably one of the biggest people in your kid's life. Um, you know, I'm a stay-at-home dad. I'm a college student. I know my kids, I spend more time with them than anybody else. And it shows sometimes in just how my kids, how they come to me as their source of comfort. They find peace in me. And sure, like I said, they retaliate, they do all that. But being like an emotional support for my kids is so important because I think of the people in my life who I go to when I'm emotional or something. And it's like my kids come to me. They come to my wife too, but I'm with them throughout the day. So, I'm there for them. My wife's there for them too, obviously. But it's important for our kids to be able to come to us and not be um punished or retaliated against when they try to come to us for comfort because we are their parents. We are the biggest people in their lives, and we are the ones that dictate what they do, and we dictate a lot of what happens in their lives. And so we need to create that loving and nurturing environment. Let's talk about a book. I just finished a book. Right here, I'll show you it. The Wild Robot. If you're a parent, read this book. You might not sound like you're going to get much out of it. Read this book. And also watch the movie. Um, you might not be ready for the emotional toll that you're going to experience as a parent. Basically, the gist of the book is there's this robot who washes up on a deserted island, and she gets to know all the animals and she gets to communicate with them. And she adopts a baby gosling, a baby goose. And anyway, she raises this gosling up, and it becomes emotional when it comes time for the gosling to migrate for the winter, and she has to stay behind while her child has to go away. And you just feel the emotional toll of that movie so much, and it's so great. And if you're a parent, watch the movie, read the book. Um, I really felt I love the book, but I felt the emotional toll more in the movie. You have the music and you have just the imagery, and yeah, watch the movie. I watched it with my daughter this past weekend, and we went to the movie theater. We sat down and watched it, and it was a great time. Me and my oldest daughter, we watched the movie, and I was just so taken away. It was such a good movie, and I heard like Wild Robot. I was like, what is that even about? Then I started reading the book, then I watched the movie, and I'm like, this is so great. And, sometimes with books and movies, you see the title and you're like, I never would consider that. But sometimes they're unexpected gems. They have great stuff, great storyline, great imagery in the movies. And yeah, I'm so glad I picked that book up and decided to read it. And that's what prompted me to go see the movie. And it was such a good decision because it was just so well put into book and movie. words and imagery of this relationship between this robot and the gosling that she is learning to love and raise. And yeah, go see the movie. But anyway, I hope you got something out of this video, because at the end of the day, we're just trying to be better parents. At least we should be trying to. We can create environments that our kids can thrive in and they can grow in, and it's so important to do that because our kids need that. So I hope you all have a great weekend. I'm glad I got this video out. We'll have more out. And yeah, if you're a parent, um, do spend time with your kid. Do things that they love, and try to love on them this weekend. And if you're not a parent, but you have nieces and nephews, or you have friends with kids that you're close to, love on them and just show them and try to give them a nurturing environment in whatever capacity you can. Because at the end of the day, we're the adults, and we need to create the environment for our kids and other people's kids that are in our lives that is so just encouraging, uplifting, and creates a good world. Because at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want to create a better world, and we do that by loving on people. And in this case, in this video, we're loving on our kids, and we're trying to promote a better world. As always, on this show, we're trying to promote a better world. So go into your weekend, have some fun. I hope you have a great weekend. Bye.